Hi Flosstube, I'm Pam. Welcome to my channel, Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. Today is Friday, March 11th, and it's Flosstube number 60 something. And this is a channel where I talk about cross stitch, mostly things I've been stitching, although I don't have a lot this week. We'll get into why. I do life updates. I opened a cross stitch shop back in November, so we do shop updates. And this week we'll do a Nashville Market 2022 recap, because I went and it was fun and exciting and overwhelming and a lot of work and yeah, all the things. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, I think that kind of describes my channel. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. Welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. I hope you like what you're watching and you come back for more. I feel a little discombobulated, like I haven't done this in 3 years, but I did it last week. Okay, what are we going to talk about first? Let's get market done. So, I went to, or do I, I'm gonna show you what I stitched this week first. Let's get stitching out of the way, then I'll talk about market. And then I pretty much brought back a whole new store from market, but I picked my 10 favorite things of the moment that I love everything I brought back from market, but I picked 10 things that are really jumping out at me right now that I wanted to show you. So, what did I stitch on this week? Well, I did absolutely no stitching between last Wednesday and this Wednesday, so there's very little to show you. On Wednesday night, we have stitching group here at the shop, so I have a shop project I work on, and currently it is Big Hearted Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. I am loving this. I'm doing it on 32. Now I'm second guessing myself. It could be 28. I think it's 28. Count. For the love of Pete, I have forgotten what I'm stitching this on. I think it's Dirty Teacup by Needle and Flax. I know it's Needle and Flax. I just now don't remember whether it's Dirty Teacup or 90s Nirvana. I think it's Dirty Teacup. And it's 28 count. And here is where I'm at. So, since you've seen it last, it's so cute. So cute. So since you've seen it last, I finished this house and I started the one next to it. It's so cute. Like, I can't. I want to live in Big Hearted Tiny Town. Makes me happy. Okay, so very little. And that was more stitching than I got done last night, which was the Hawk Run Hollow Zoom Stitch Together. And I think I got all of 50 stitches in, maybe. There was a lot of chatting, not a lot of stitching. A Year at Hawk Run Hollow by HRH Samplings. I'm currently working on the May block. I have these 3 done, this one done, and this one done. And I'm working on this one. I've kind of gone out of order. It's being stitched on 40 count Picture This Plus Legacy. And there's my May block. So I think I got 3 more yellow leaves done. I am bright, if you're watching for the first time, I have brightened colors here and there. I've swapped out colors. So my May block is going to be brighter than what's charted for. So I have a few more yellow petals. Did I call them leaves? Petals in there. And then I unpicked, there are 2 fish that go right here, and I originally had them stitched in, and I have since pulled one out, and then last night I pulled the other out because I'm gonna restitch them, I think, in gray. I think that'll give the piece more balance. They were in red and it wasn't really working. So that's that. That was my stitching since last Wednesday. I am one of those people who likes to stitch every evening. Occasionally something will come up and I won't have a chance to stitch, but I don't know the last time I have gone an entire week without touching my stitching. Because I don't know about all of you, but for me, my chair is in the wrong place. For me, I mean, maybe that's the case for YouTube, that's not what I'm talking about. For me, stitching sort of like brings the stress down. And then I went to market, which is like kind of stressful. I mean, not in a bad way, but it's stressful. And I didn't stitch, so I was all sort of out of sorts. It was really nice. And then when the first few days were back, we're doing so much work that by the time, you know, I got home Tuesday night from the shop, there was no stitching. Oh, and once a month, the town that my shop is in, North Attleboro, the downtown businesses have a meeting. So of course that meeting was like on the first day I was back from market. So no stitching happened Tuesday night, but it feels really good to be back and like bringing the stress down, making the X's, that feeling of when the floss pulling through the fabric, like you all know, I don't have to tell you. Yeah. Okay, I'm so beyond excited. You have seen this as a finish, but I have back from the framer the pixels that made us. I don't even know how this is gonna fit in the frame, in the picture, in the camera. You know what I'm saying? It's so good. It's so good. If you are local, I highly recommend using the preservation framer in North Attleboro. It's not frugal framing, but it's worth it. They do such an amazing job. Okay. Let's see, I have to get back. I know nothing about the glare. It's so good. It's so good. So, I'll show you. I just picked a really simple, you can see my like setup. Oh, and great way to show off the shop. You can see the whole shop back there in the reflection. Okay, anyway, that's not what we're doing here. I chose a simple black frame, and I almost never matte my framing. I mean, I didn't matte it. I almost never have it matted, but this, I feel like, called for it. So I've got black matte and then a little strip of blue, which I really think brings out like all the colors. And then the best part, right on the mat are the gaming systems for each letter. So NES for Nintendo Entertainment System, which is the characters in the G, and Game Boy. It would have been too much to do Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. So it's just Game Boy for the A, and Arcade for the M, and I can't see what I'm doing. I gotta stand up for this. Okay. Sega Genesis, I'm trying to get the glare out, for the E, and Super Nintendo for the R. Like, I'm gonna stand back. It's so good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I can't wait for April now to give it to my son. Okay, let me pull back up. Put this down so I don't ruin it. Okay. It's so good. I was torn. I kind of wanted that little like inner color to be red. Oop, I'm losing you. I kind of wanted it to be red, but my son's favorite color is purple. The walls in his room are purple. He's never going to have a color on his wall ever, I think, that'll go with a red strip. So I went with the blue, which I'm quite pleased about, because the blue, when I was stitching that, every time it popped up, there was like this really bright blue. It was one of the last colors in the DMC. I'm trying to see if I can see my DMC right now. So it was just it was a happy blue, and now they all pop. All those happy blues pop. So good. I love that there's that silver words right on the mat, and the font is perfect. Oh my God, it's so good. It's one of the best things I think I've ever had framed. So good. Okay. really excited about that. Oh my gosh, I forgot again. Okay, I still have to do the raffle for the By the Bay trunk show. And I'm like, doing my morning stuff in the shop, and I'm thinking, don't forget, Pam, don't forget to cut out the raffle tickets and put them in a bowl and you can pull them on camera. Did I do it? Absolutely not. I may try to do a separate video where I do that and then tack it on to the end of this. I don't know what I have for time. If I do not do that, if you see this video and I don't do that, I will for sure pull the tickets, pull the raffle winner for the By the Bay trunk show in my next video. I have not forgotten. I have not pulled a winner and not told you. I have every intention of doing it on camera. Hot mess. My brain is like 50,000 miles a minute and not retaining any of the things that are just going through it. Okay, that brings us to, da-da-da! You gotta give it a little fanfare. Market. I took my husband. It was our first time going. We didn't go before we had a shop. And it was amazing. I'll start from the beginning. We left. If you are discovering cross stitch for the first time, Nashville Needlework Market is a trade show that happens the first weekend of March down in just outside of Nashville in Franklin, Tennessee. And it's held at the Embassy Suites, which is like one of those courtyard hotels where the rooms outface onto like a courtyard. There's 9 floors. There's elevators of doom that have, we'll get to that. So floors 2 through 5 are all the, I'll call them exhibitors, all the designers, the fabric dyers, the distributors set up in their rooms that face out onto the courtyard, and that's where the buyers, go around and shop. It's a cash and carry event, so you go home with what you buy. So much stuff. So my husband and I'm gonna call my husband Kevin, that's his name, but I don't wanna have to keep saying my husband. So right now you know that Mr. Land of Good Enough's name is Kevin, which is a great name. It's one of my favorites. Which makes sense since, that's my husband's name. Anyway, I tried to convince my husband that if we ever had a girl that we would name her Kevin, but with a Y, and he vetoed that. He does not like his name. I don't know. Anyway, we didn't have a girl. We had 2 boys. So, what the heck was I taught? Market. We drove. So we left not super early, about 6 o'clock on Thursday morning of last week. So a week ago today, a week ago yesterday. And we drove 10 hours. It was slightly more than 10 hours because, there were potty breaks and, you had to refill gas, stuff like that. But 10 hours away, we stopped in Roanoke, Virginia and overnighted there. And then we got up super early Friday morning. I guess it wasn't super early. We were out of the hotel by 6. Because at Market on the Friday, there was a retailers meeting at 2 o'clock that we wanted to make sure we got there for. It being our first Market, we didn't want to miss that. And I'm glad we didn't. It was really good information there. But when you drive from Rhode Island to Tennessee, there's a time change that happens. And you run into the time change on the second leg of the trip. It happens once you're in Tennessee. Tennessee is one of those states where I don't know how my Tennessean viewers, is that what you would say, Tennessean? Tennessee. If you're from Tennessee, do you call yourself a Tennessean? When I lived in Massachusetts, I called myself a Massachusettsian. I'm not sure how to spell that. And in Rhode Island, we're Rhode Islanders. But, there goes the heat. if you're a Tennesseer, are you a Tennesseer or a Tennessean? I don't know the answer to this. Probably neither. Anyway, Tennessee is one of those states where they have 2 different time zones in it. So you switch over in Tennessee. We couldn't figure out what time it was going to be when we were getting to the hotel. Whether if we left at 6, we'd be getting there at 1 o'clock. It's a 7-hour drive. So we weren't sure if we were going to get there at 1 o'clock or noon. It was very confusing because, you know, your little like Waze app tells you it's so many hours and this is what time you're gonna, we couldn't figure it out. It turned out that we got there at noon. I mean, a little after because, you know, pit stops and gas and potty breaks and that sort of stuff. So we got there in plenty of time to like check in. We were able to do early check-in, and get situated and have a bite to eat and then do the retailers meeting. And then after that, it's not long until early bird shopping happens. I mean, I don't know what to say about Market. It was so good. There, I met so many people. Everybody was so kind and helpful and full of advice, and I had some fangirl moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to, you know. The models in person were amazing. Highlight for me was getting to hug my friend Michelle, Benny Stitchy, in person for the first time ever, instead of just being virtual friends. It was fantastic. Oh, and Memphis Sarah E. I don't know if you watch Memphis Sarah E., but she's lovely virtually, and she's lovely in person. I met so many people, and I'm not going to be able to name everyone I met. But it was so much work. So much work. I mean, I knew going in that it was going to be exhausting, and it was so not just physically exhausting, but Market is like mentally exhausting. I call it decision fatigue, where like your brain just doesn't want to make any more decisions. Like, how many of this chart should I get? Should I get this chart? I don't know. Is anybody going to buy this chart? Maybe they'll buy this chart. I like this chart. If I liked it, like that's what goes through your head for every single decision you have to make. And then, okay, we finished. So early bird shopping happened between 4 and 8. And we got a lot of stuff done that first night. And then Saturday I was in line at, my husband and I like split up. So he got in line for With the Needle and Thread, and I was in line at Fox and Rabbit. And, I was 4th in line for Fox and Rabbit. I did get some Fox and Rabbit fabric, but I mean, they sold out so quickly. I didn't come home with like armfuls of it. So I am waiting until after. I'm giving my Saturday, my in-person shoppers the week. And then after that, my Fox and Rabbit is going to go online. Anything that I have left. I am holding some back. So if you're hearing me say I bought Fox and Rabbit fabric and you're one of my online shoppers, I do not have it online yet. I'm not going to put it online until next week. Part of one of the wonderful things about being a brick and mortar is that you want your in-person shoppers to be able to touch and feel the fabric. That's, the biggest reason I opened. Speaking of fabric, I met some gals from South Carolina who just opened a needle workshop in Myrtle Beach, and I can never remember the name of the shop. This is where I need Kevin. Kevin was really a really good friend maker. He was really good at chatting with people and making connections. I'm not good at that stuff. I'm friendly, I think, but I'm also super socially awkward. So yeah. Anyway, they were fantastic. They opened their shop in July. So a few months before we opened our shop, and they have convinced me I need to hang my fabric. So we're going to be working on that once we get past, I think, the next couple of weeks. Anyway, you didn't need to know that. What the heck was that? Oh, so yeah, in line super early Friday morning for Fox and Rabbit. I'm not open yet. I hope that's not somebody for the store. I don't think so. And then we were done with the bulk of our shopping by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So we went out for lunch and then came back to the hotel and tried to do all the work. The hotel internet is bad. It's so bad. Like I really thought that we were gonna like hole up in our room and get all our stuff inputted into the computer system and we'd be raring to go come Tuesday morning. The internet was so bad, it was taking forever to get my stuff in the system. Next year, learning process, I will have somebody back home that will be doing the inputting for me. So on Tuesday morning, everything will be online, we'll be ready to go. It took Kevin all day on Tuesday at the shop to get the stuff kind of thrown online. Like normally I like to have a description, like, you know, what the stitch count is, floss that gets used, all, like give you some information on the things. A lot of stuff has no information. Just we want to just get it online. So get it in the system. It's a learning process. And then we had a lovely dinner Saturday evening down in the hotel and got to meet some other, wow, the brain is not working. We socialized on Saturday evening and then went back and tried to do some more work. And then Sunday morning, we had a little bit of last minute stuff we needed to get done. And then we went home. And then on the way home, I left my pocketbook behind in Roanoke, Virginia. And then they had to ship it to me. And it arrived last night. I was going to be devastated. First of all, my favorite reading glasses were in there. And second of all, it was the bag my mom made me. And I was going to be really sad if I didn't get it back. I mean, obviously I canceled out all my cards and, you know, had to deal with, like, I had to freeze the bank account and it was a mess. But I was mostly upset that I was going to lose the bag that my mom made me. I mean, not that she couldn't have made me another bag, but like I love the fabric. So yeah, I feel like I'm not doing a really superior job in describing my market experience because it was so much fun. And I really meant to take all the video and all the pictures and share it so that you could all feel like you were there with me. And then I was so overwhelmed that none of that happened. I almost like need to have someone with me next year that just does that for me. Takes the pictures and takes the video. Because I mean, I'm bad at social media to begin with. And then when I am in a new situation, that's not what I'm thinking about. So my apologies. I even forgot to like take a, hey, we're leaving Rhode Island picture. I'm a social media failure, pretty much. If there's anything you want to know that I am not talking about, you can ask in the comments and I will try to answer every question. And if I don't answer your comment, I will be taking a note that I need to answer it next week. Okay, now on to, I can't believe like I had a whole market experience and I have forgotten like what I should talk to you about. Someone asked me in the Hawk Run Hollow Zoom last night, you know, I mentioned that Teresa Coco was the first place I went on Friday when shopping opened. And they're like, oh, did you meet her? How was she? I'm like, I know I met her. I know I talked to her. But she was the first one. She was lovely. She was nice. I don't remember. Yeah, that's kind of what market is like for me. Like, I know I did things. There were some standout things. Like, I mean, obviously meeting Alma from Blackbird was amazing. I had a lovely conversation with Kathy Haberman. I had a lovely conversation with Stephanie Webb from Lindy Stitches. I had a lovely conversation. I think it's Judy from JBW. Like those stand out in my head. And Cheryl, I'm really bad with names, from Glendon Place was lovely. but everyone was lovely. And I know I talked to so many people. Gone. It's all gone. It's being stored in my brain somewhere. Gone. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna get to right at my moment. I mean, it's so hard to pick favorites, but these are my top favorites, my top 10 favorites as of like this morning that I brought home from market. This one is a definitely must stitch. I absolutely need to stitch this. This was Drip Drip Drop by Loohoo Stitches. Can you see the little mouse? And it's raining and the mushroom. I have to stitch this. First of all, Bambi is one of my favorites. And you know that the song is going on in my head right now. I'm not gonna sing it for you, but it's there. It's happening in my head. I love this so much. It's so cute. So that's one of my favorites of the moment. This one, I can't. I love Hocus Pocus, but not as much as my mom loves Hocus Pocus. I was so excited about this and I was gonna get it and I was gonna stitch it for my mom. And then my mom saw it when we were unpacking and bought it. So she'll stitch it for herself, but I can't. You got the 3 Sanderson sisters and it was a collaboration between Fairy Wool in the Wood and Manny Dodonna and Romy's Creations. And I can't, they're so cute. So that's one of my favorites. And the thread pack. I got Romy's Creations thread pack to stitch it with. So that was one of my favorites of the moment. This one might be one of my all-time, this isn't gonna be of the moment. Like I hardcore love this. Leela Studio. They were nice too. I mean, everybody was nice. Yeah, everyone was nice. The Spring Parade set 1 and set 2. Can you even, they're bunnies. He's in an artichoke. He's riding a sheep. I can't. What is that? Is this a beet? A turnip? I think it's a beet. They're so stinking cute. I love this. I love this basket. They are so cute. I do like set 2 more than I like set 1, but I love them both a lot. This one's a little quirkier. Oh my gosh, they're so adorable. I love that the one in the artichoke is like wearing a hat. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. So cute. This was one of those ones where seeing it in person, I love like little season, like monthly stitches. This is season 2 by Hands On. But I feel like, I don't know that this would jump out at me, but seeing them all stitched up in the shop, let's see if I can show you the seagulls right here. Definitely gonna have to stitch that. The turkeys, so good. Holy moly, that white pumpkin. They're just good. They're so good. Those are my favorites though. So that's on my list of favorites of the moment. I need to stitch this so badly. Can we just live forever and retain our eyesight and stitch all the things that we want to stitch? Spring Awakens by Summer House Stitch Works. I love the color progression. I don't know, there's something, it kind of reminds me of a rainy day where there's gloom and then the sun shines through and you get that weird light. I love it. I love it so much. There isn't enough time. Okay. I'm probably never gonna stitch this because I'm not crafty and I will never be able to figure out how to turn it into the needle book. But if I were crafty, this would be first on my list. I can't, this is so hysterical to me. Summer House Stitch Works came out with, there's a dog one too. I think he's called like Sir Percy. This is Lady Catherine Kitty and they're called Hello and Goodbye. because you got hello and goodbye. And like this is the outside of the needle book. So you got the front of the needle book, the back of the needle book, and then there's like stitching that you do inside. It's so cute. It's so cute. It's clever. Ooh, and the inside pattern, like that's a mouse. There's a mouse in there amongst the flowers. There's mices, meese. Those aren't real words. It's so cute. I can't get over the cat butt. Like, the cat butt is the best part. It's so cute. I can't. It's so cute. At the end of the month, the shop is going to have a Rosewood Manor trunk show. I'm 99% sure this is one of the models that's coming. I mean, I requested it. I assume it's coming. In person, this model is, I mean, the picture is beautiful. The model is stunning, stunning. A Tisket, a Tasket by Rosewood Manor. I will be stitching this at some point in my life. I love the blues. It's, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. And it's stitched, I'm pretty sure the model, I'll double check, is on 28 count. It was large. Yes, 28 count. It was big, but it reminds me like it would be, I wouldn't want to make it smaller. Like I would want to stitch it big and like, it would be the thing that like hangs over my bed or hangs in your dining room and it would be a statement piece. Oh my gosh. I'm like holding it way back. Can you see it back here? I mean, maybe you can. Maybe you're watching me on the TV and you can see things big. I can barely see that though. So good. And then there's a little place up here where you like write your name. I think it says like wrought by, but you can probably put anything you want in there. There's an alphabet, you can change it out. Oh my gosh, totally stitching this. This might be like one of my absolute favorite things for Market. Like I want to start it yesterday. Lindy Stitches had a kit called the Loose Rooster. I can't. I love this rooster. I love that he has polka dots. I love his fancy tail. We had chickens growing up and they were not this kind of chicken, but I always loved the roosters. We always had like one or two and they were mean and fancy and so proud of themselves. And I love it so much. I'm seeing if it's one of those kits. So it comes with like all the things. It comes with the fabric and the threads and it has everything you need. The only thing it does not have is the DMC. So everything that you need to make the, I don't know what this is called. A needle roll? I don't know. You know, because I'm not crafty with my stitching. You tell me, but I love that rooster. And I love a kit. I like to not have to think about things. I love the ticking. Maybe that's what I love. He's such a fancy rooster. If I stitched this though, somebody else would have to finish it for me. I just don't have those skills. Okay. I'm not gonna stitch, oh, I don't know if I can stitch this needle. Somebody needs to teach me how to do a needle book because Primitive Hair had two patterns and I don't know that I'd be able to decide which one. I'm leaning towards the moon, but I like the sun too. I like them both. Moon, their Queen of the Needle series. Can you, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like so good. Stay Wild, Moonchild. I can't. I mean, that's some serious like full coverage going on there. That made me go. I also really loved Kathy Barrick's Moon one too. I'll have to show that one next week. And then this one was the Sun, Queen of the Needles. That middle part says, "Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. Here comes the sun." And Okay, we're not gonna really sing. It's so good. And then the pins, and where was I? I was in Dinky Dyes, and they have scissors, and I saw these scissors, which had a sun and a moon, and I was like, well, that goes. Totally love that. All right, lastly, I am not a reproduction sampler stitcher, but this one is calling to me. It's Fox and Rabbit, Margaret, I have no idea how to say this, Ligertwood, 1765. There is some, I'll show it to you in a sec. There is something that is just drawing me to this. I like the house. I like the fence wall situation in front of the house. I like the flowers. I like what it says. I'm gonna read to you what it says first, and then I'll show it to you, because I think this is gonna be it. I always said there's like one reproduction sampler in my life. I mean, maybe there's 3, but maybe 1 a decade. This will be the one I do in my 40s. There is in man a lust no charm can tame, of loudly publishing his neighbor's shame. On eagle's wings immortal scandals fly, while virtuous actions do but live and die. I love that. I love that. I'm not an alphabet stitcher. So like the reproduction samplers that have a ton of alphabets don't do anything for me. But this I need to do. It might be my birthday start this year. Ooh, but what about okay, I need to be one of those people that says in 2023, I'm going to have 203 new starts, or like on my 46th birthday, I will have 46 starts. Because I'm never going to start all the things I want to start. But I love this so much, so much. I don't, everything except the name down the bottom. That scares me a little bit. I think it has like rice stitches. I've never done rice stitches. But, you know, there's always a time to learn. What's the worst that happens? They come out horrible, I take them out, and I put X's in instead, right? Or I could leave off the name altogether and just bring the border. That feels like I shouldn't do that. Anyway, those are my 10 favorites of the moment. I mean, I brought back so much stuff, I can't show it all. But I figure maybe next week I'll show, for sure, I can't believe I forgot to bring Kathy Barracks over here because here comes the heat. It's probably a good time to wrap up. And I need to get ready to open the store. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything important I need to say. I know I'm forgetting to say 504 things exactly. And I know I didn't talk about Market in a very illuminating sort of way. So if you need clarification or you're really curious about something, ask me in the comments below and I will either answer it on camera next week or answer it in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting me and my shop. Just thanks. And I will see you all next week. So in the meantime, I hope that you stay healthy and safe and happy and get a lot of stitching in. And hopefully I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye everyone.